Should I zoom in? Nah, we'll leave it. So it's been a while. It's been... When was the last video I uploaded? 10 months ago. Been 10 months as of me filming this now. This video is very different than what I usually film. We're going to be talking about books, in particular books that I read last year. Now please keep in mind when reading these books, if I didn't find the book interesting, like I know that I wouldn't read it again. I got rid of the book. I'm like, nah, I'm not going to read you again. I don't need you in my life. Thank you for the experience, but just not for me. I'm not going to pick it back up. So I either sold it or I traded it at the free street libraries that are around Australia. Highly recommend doing that. I found some really good books that I have currently got on my TBR. There is too much on my TBR. Follow me on Goodreads. There's so much. I haven't done this in such a long time and I'm running out of breath. The first book series that I read last year were the Off-Campus series by Elle Kennedy. Fun fact is I don't have the first 2 books in paperback form. I have the last 3. So I read the first 2 on my phone actually, because the deal was for free on the iBooks Apple book thing. The deal by Elle Kennedy. Highly recommend that series. I love Elle Kennedy's work for the Off-Campus series. I haven't read the Briar You series. Hang on. I haven't started reading the whole Briar You series. I have the first one because I like her work so much. I even have her recent book, The Good Girl. What is it? The Good... There's too many books. I just zoomed the camera in a little bit more, hoping... Oh, much better! Hallelujah! Frick yeah! Okay. So yeah, I have her Briar You series, which is kind of like a spin-off series based off the Off-Campus series. Again, love this series. I haven't started reading it because I want to read the Bridgerton series because the new season just came out and I watched it. So I want to read that series. I need to stop getting distracted. Go back to Off-Campus. Off-Campus, baby. Hannah and Garrett are in the same class. Hannah got an A, I believe. Garrett didn't do so well and he needs to do well because he is there for hockey, off a hockey scholarship. Ice hockey scholarship, I should say. So he goes up to her, is like, hey, will you tutor me? And she's like, no way in hell, I'm not doing that. He constantly tries to keep getting her to agree, and then he notices that Hannah has a crush on one of the guys. I can never remember his name, but there's a guy who they have a class with. She has a crush on him and he's like, I'll help you out if you help me out. They start doing this whole fake dating thing while tutoring. I love Hannah and Garrett. Garrett is like literally, I want my own Garrett. Mixture of Garrett and Tucker. Yes, please. Highly recommend The Deal. The Deal is so fucking amazing. Like, holy shit. Like, honestly, cannot over recommend it. It is amazing. It was very close to a 5-star for me, but trigger warnings if you do go to read it, because like honestly there are some triggers in it that you need to be aware of if you go to read this type of stuff. Next up we have The Mistake. Not a huge fan of this one as I was with The Deal. The Chase, no, The Chase, oh my god, The Chase is that one. We haven't read The Chase, Lani, what are you doing? Logan and Grace. Grace I related to because goody two shoes, like literally follows the books and everything. Logan goes over to her house one day thinking it's where, or her dorm room thinking it's like a party type thing. It's not happening. He notices she's watching, I think a Die Hard that she's watching. She's watching the first Die Hard. They, you know, don't cuddle up on the couch. They just sit there on the couch and watch it. She can't believe that Logan is in her room. Her roommate then doesn't believe her when she talks about it and all this stuff. Oh, Logan has problems with his dad. Jesus, it's been a while since I read these. It's been a good year. I can't remember much about this book and I really hate that I don't remember much of it. It just clearly wasn't for me. I remember the score. I can tell you the score, which is the next one. Anyway, I rated it like 3 stars. It wasn't for me. Clearly, I can't remember the freaking whole synopsis of the story. Just not for me. The next one is The Score, which is Dean De Laurentiis and Allie. Allie is Hannah's roommate. Like, they live together in a dorm and everything. So, you know, Hannah always has Garrett over. Hannah always goes over to the boys' house. She just broke up with her on and off boyfriend Sean, which constantly happens a lot. She goes over to stay at the boys' house, apartment type thing, because she just doesn't want Sean to come over and see her and convince her, hey, things were great, why don't we go back together? They then, you know, end up secretly dating. They secretly see each other. So yeah, they go on and off dating. It's quite funny, their story together. I love these two as well. I don't want to say too much that gives books away, so I'm just going to say very little about these. I did end up crying while reading this book, like sad tears. I laughed quite a lot. Their relationship is pretty good. I like it. It ends on like a cliffhanger type thing, like you're shocked to do with this book. And oh my god, as soon as I finished this one, I had to start reading this one. And I'm like, no, I need answers. So I literally started reading it. I probably got like a third of the way in before I went to bed. These books kind of overlap each other some way. You find out what's going on with Tucker, but like the things that are happening with Dean and Ali are happening in this one as well. Like it kind of like overlaps the storytelling. Like you go through the thing that made me cry in this twice. Why did I have to go through it twice? It's bad enough I had to go through it once and then twice through a different perspective. Next up we have The Goal. Again, Tucker. I want my own Tucker. Garrett and Tucker combined, like please. This book follows Sabrina and Tucker. Tucker goes to the bar with Dean and one of the other hockey mates. I think he's like a trainee hockey, like he's only just starting or something. He's here for the new season. Sabrina's there with a couple of her friends, but they make eyes across the room. Dean has beef with Sabrina, like they have this enemies type thing going on. Tucker's like, I like her, I want to pursue her, to see her, all this stuff. He goes up to her, talks to her, you know, they talk, they get to know each other a little bit, and they go, okay, let's go. They go to his ute, but in this book it is a truck. Bloody Americans calling utes trucks, and they put two and two together. They do things. She doesn't want a relationship. She wants to, like, you know, focus on school because she's trying to become a lawyer. She wants that for herself, and he completely understands. He's like, yep, that's fine. Basically they're like booty calling each other type thing, like, you know, if they need a release. It's a terrible way to describe it, but if they needed that, they would. I'm not gonna say it's a huge thing that happens in this book because it might give it away, but I love this book. The relationship that Tucker and Sabrina have, man, I want that. I want a guy to treat me the way Tucker treats Sabrina. Like, seriously, where is he? Lastly, we have The Legacy. This book is kind of a conclusion to the whole series. Each part is based on each couple. So you got a wedding, a proposal, an elopement, and a surprise pregnancy. I did, before reading this book, like I read the blurb and everything, like you got a rough idea of what's happening and everything. I guessed each, like who would get what, and I got it correct. I'm so happy that I did, because I didn't read the whole buuuut series. I wish I did before reading this one, because it did give away some things that happen in this series with the couples. The only thing about this book that I didn't like is that because it is like yay thick, it's not that thick. I wanted more, and I know that's like a huge thing to say, but like I wanted more. I wanted to know what else was going on with these characters after everything else that I've just gone through with them. Like, I was attached to these characters. I loved these characters. I still do love these characters. But yeah, each part, because like each part is to do with each couple, I wanted more for each part. Like, I wanted more information, more detail, more everything just about these couples. To me, it kind of did feel a little rushed at the end of each couple's like part, but I did laugh quite a lot. Almost cried quite a bit, especially in the last part. If you've read it, you know. But yes, again, I don't want to give away too much because it might give away what's happening, which couple is what, and it didn't give me the closure that I needed, I guess. But then again, I didn't feel like I needed the closure after reading all these books. I didn't feel like I needed this book, but once I got it, I wanted more. So yeah, that was fun. This series, again, I love this series so much. Mwah. I love it. After this, I read Panic. The reason why I read Panic is because I watched the TV show on Amazon Prime here in Australia. It was on Amazon. I loved that show so much, so I was like, yes, I'm reading the book. I'm going to read this book. The book disappointed me. I liked the show more than I liked the book. which is a lot because usually it's the other way around. Usually I love the book so much more than the actual show or movie. So that was kind of disappointing because I had high expectations because I'd watched the show, and there are some things that happened in the show that I wish happened in the book, and I like that the writers went with that way for the show compared to like following the book to a T. It kind of followed it, but still. Panic is about, so basically at the end of every year, seniors can go into like a competition type thing to win some money to help them get out of this small town, otherwise you're stuck there. It follows Heather and a whole group of other people. Heather's the main character. In her point of view, basically they go through a whole heap of like challenges that push them to the edge, like to try and get them to drop out and stop doing this thing. But was it last year? The one before it, there was an accident, I think. I can't remember if it's in the book or the show. And so the cops are on their like arse trying to stop this from happening again because they don't want another death in because of Panic. I just didn't feel as attached to it as I was with the show. The show I like binged in 2 days. That was including work on top of things. So I loved the show, but the book just didn't live up to the expectations that it had. So if you want to read the book, go ahead, but like I just say skip the book and just watch the show. The show is that freaking amazing. I loved it. Next one I read was The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes by Suzanne Collins. This was a prequel to the Hunger Games series, which the Hunger Games series is what got me back into reading. It followed President Snow before he became president, him as a child in the Capitol, them starting the whole Hunger Games thing. It was like very recent, very new. He was at school, and selected students at that school would get picked to sponsor or represent certain district child. And so like, you know, they would have meetings, they'll get to know each other, all this type of stuff. I didn't like it as much. It was nice to see President Snow's background and get to know why he became such an evil asshole. Afterwards, I read Punk 57. A lot of emotions towards the end. But this book follows Misha and Ren. Misha and Ren grew up because of school. They began to like, you know, find people, become pen pals with someone. These two became pen pals throughout high school, like primary school, high school. Their whole life these two stayed as pen pals. They didn't stop writing to each other. Misha's in a band. He's playing one night. Ren happens to be at this like place where the band's playing. Misha and Ren have never seen each other, so they don't know what each other look like. They've just, you know, seen their words. They actually meet at this party, but they don't know who each other are. Especially Ren doesn't. Ren definitely doesn't. Misha, I have a feeling he knows. I think he knew. Yeah, he knew. Basically, he then wants to meet her and get to know her. Does have quite a bit of like sex scenes in this. There is one chapter that's basically a whole sex scene, so if you don't like reading about sex scenes and stuff, don't recommend reading this. But the ending did have me a little shook, like I didn't see it coming. Anyway, a whole heap of stuff happens. I didn't mind this book altogether, but I just didn't see the huge hype. I feel like it was overhyped all over Book Talk. But yes, it wasn't too bad, you know, I guess, for a book. Not that bad. They did change the cover, I believe, recently. It's now like a black and white cover, so I'm kind of glad I got this cover. It's nice and smooth too. It's not shiny. It's like, I don't know, it feels different. Next up, I read the Selection series, and I just read the first 3. I have the next 2, which I'm hoping to read this year. I need to read them, but the next 2 don't follow America and Prince Maxton. This series gives me Bachelor and Hunger Games mixed together. All 3 books are America's point of view. All these girls audition, I guess, or like enter in to become one of the 12 lucky women throughout their country to go to the kingdom to become the next princess slash queen, to have Maxton go, yes, you're the one I want to marry. There are different districts though. There are like 8 districts. Like you got 8 is like you're very poor, 1 is like your royals, your queens, your kings, and like all that type of stuff. So like those who have money. I believe America is number 7. Back in her hometown, she's very interested in a guy, can't remember his name, but he's an 8. He's like even poorer than America. She has fallen in love with him, like she loves him to death, and then she ends up getting selected as one of the 12 girls who get to go over to go over to the kingdom, live there for a while to fall in love with the prince. But it starts off as enemies to lovers. I will admit, they become enemies in this. They hate each other. They come up with like a deal. America's like, if you want, I can be your undercover. I can get information on each girl for you and come back to you as long as you keep me in the game, because she's only in this for the money for her family, to help her family live and survive. I have heard that this is actually getting turned into a movie. The actress who's playing America, I did not see. The actor who is playing Maxton is, from what I heard, is the actor who plays Enzo in The Vampire Diaries. I didn't see him as Maxton, but it would be very interesting to see. And then you got the second one, have The Elite by Kira Cass. This one, there's only 6 of them left in this book. You also find out about rebels that are happening. There are rebels who are going up against the capital. This is not Hunger Games. Although there are 2 different rebels, so you got the good rebels and the evil rebels. The good rebels are the ones who go in and they don't kill anyone. They just go into the castle and they want certain things. They're looking for something, but you don't know what it is that they're looking for. And then you got the evil ones. I call them the evil ones. But like, they're the evil ones who actually end up killing soldiers that are in the castle. All this happens while the girls are here. You find out more about the king, the queen. In this one, America's feelings end up getting stronger for Maxton. She realizes, I actually do like this guy. Hey, so funny thing, the last bit of this clip somehow deleted. It like went missing, it went somewhere, I don't know where. So I'm gonna film the last of it now. I've literally just finished editing everything that you've seen, so I'm gonna film the last bit now. The Elite, at points of this whole series, America pissed me off. Like, I hated her guts. I hated her so freaking much. I just couldn't stand her. I just nope. She kind of like had to go. But I knew that she couldn't because she's like the main character. But yeah, no, America started to piss me off. We talked about the rebels a bit more in this one. I'm just gonna say that I've spoken about this one. Let's just say that we've spoken about this one. Yeah. Okay, the next one is The One by Kira Cass, obviously. I think this one's my favorite book, and I think it's because of the one quote that is towards the end of the book. It's my favorite. I love it. If you follow me on Instagram, would have seen it when I finished reading this book last year. It's a really good book. Like, the ending, just a lot happens and I love it. This series isn't too bad. There's also an epilogue in this too, which the other ones didn't have. Kira Cass's writing, I will admit, throughout the whole series, pretty easy to read. It is young adult, but it's pretty good young adult series. There's no sex scenes, no iffiness. Some young adult books do cover it a little bit. Her writing is really easy to read. I find like the font is a decent size. Her writing's pretty good. The selection, pretty good. I didn't post when I finished the selection, but I finished The One within 2 days because I finished The Elite on the 18th of September and then the 20th I finished The One. So within 2 days I finished it. So yeah, the series is really easy to read. If you want to read it, it's decent. It's quick, easy books if you want to read. They're not thick either. Next up, I read a very highly talked about book on BookTok, and it was my first ever book by this author, Colleen Hoover. You might know there's a lot of books going on around on TikTok. She wrote that it's like so hyped up. But I read It Ends With Us. I finished The One on the 20th, and then 2 days later I finished It Ends With Us. So obviously a good book. I finished it within 2 days of it. I'm sure if you haven't heard about it or even know about it, or because of BookTok, I'm not going to explain it because it is, again, a very overly hyped book. It is a good book. I do like Colleen Hoover's writing. I don't know if it was worth the hype, but I'm glad that I read it because it got me into her work. I now have like 3 of her books. I read another one of hers, Layla, this year. I did end up tearing up. I didn't actually cry. Everyone's like, oh, you're gonna cry. I didn't cry. I just teared up. The epilogue in here has my heart. Like, I'm so happy. And It Starts With Us comes out this year. You bet your ass that I'm buying the physical copy. I'm not reading it on my Kindle. I am buying the physical copy and I am going to be reading it. If you don't know of this book, where have you been living? Under a rock, clearly. Definitely love this book. That's everything I read in 2021. If you like these type of videos, please let me know. My goal this year is to read 2 books a month, which is going pretty well, and it's only April. I haven't finished any book yet, but I'm reading 2 at the moment, so I'm hoping to finish 1 this weekend. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you liked it, feel free to give it a thumbs up. Let me know what books you read last year that I should probably read. I'm also new to this whole booktube side of things, so anyway, thank you all for watching. Bye.